So this is going to be more of a stream of conscious-like thing than anything. Because when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks, we all know that the story of this team has been riddled with misfortune, bad luck, not winning any lotteries, and extreme disappointment, even when the team is almost at the peak. Vancouver has rioted twice after Canucks losses in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Vancouver had arguably some of the best players in the league during their time at the top of the NHL in the 2010s. Between the Sedins and Ryan Kesler, Roberto Luongo, and the rest of the crew, this was a team that was one of the best in hockey at the time. And even when you look at the future iterations of this Canucks squad, there were some really great names that suited up and that were able to display some massive talent in the blue and white-green sweater. Elias Pettersson was a 100-point player. So was JT Miller. Quinn Hughes had 90-plus points. And heck, Thatcher Demko was nominated for a Vezina. But now, we have ourselves a team that is at the bottom of the barrel, with nothing to show for after years of trying to be competitive. And it was made even more disappointing when this post was made on, I believe this was on Instagram. Yes, it was on Instagram. Big shout out over to James Miller Hockey, who posted this earlier last week. Here are active NHL players who had scored the most goals in their first 100 NHL games. Now, a quick caveat to the list here. Patrik Laine had 49 goals in his first 100 games played, but since he remains unsigned, the source actually doesn't have Laine labeled as an active player. While creating the graphics, he didn't notice he was missing until it was too late, so hey, apologies. Hey though, Patrik Laine's omission from this graphic is great because it gives us an opportunity to talk about a guy in Vancouver who suited up on this list instead. Here are the most goals in their first 100 games as an NHL player from all active players excluding Patrik Laine. Alex Ovechkin scored 64 goals in 100 games. Auston Matthews had 53. Sidney Crosby and I guess Patrik Laine had 49 each, and then things get very interesting. Brock Boeser is next up on the list with 47 goals in his first 100 NHL games. Dala Bill Kirill Kaprizov is at 46, Jason Robertson's at 43, Andrei Kuzmenko of the Vancouver Canucks is at 42. And then you have Jake Guentzel at 41, Celebrini at 40, and Elias Pettersson at 40 as well. This is what I think about when I see this list. It is a pretty big reclamation of Vancouver Canucks talent that just was not able to go anywhere over the next few years. You see, this guy had 47 goals in his first 100 games. He's got to amount to something significant in Vancouver and become a piece that would help them actually win something down the line. And to Brock Boeser's credit, he did become a 40-goal scorer in one season in 2023-2024. You'll never take that away from him. But Boeser is one of 3 Vancouver Canucks names that was on this list. Andrei Kuzmenko, it's kind of wild that he had 42 total goals in his first 100 games because Kuzmenko finished off that first season that he had with the Vancouver Canucks with freaking almost 40 goals himself. He had 39 goals in his very first Canucks year in 81 games, which means that Andrei Kuzmenko only scored 3 goals in the next 19 games that he had in a Canucks sweater. That's not great, and a lot of that can be chalked up to Rick Tocchet. However, I will say that Kuzmenko's down year was the 23-24 year, so I don't know, you pick and choose your poison, eh? And then Elias Pettersson. being in the same territory as Macklin Celebrini with 40 goals in his first 100 games. I get that Celebrini was a year younger when he was able to do that, but it just goes to show you how Elias Pettersson, when he debuted in the National Hockey League, was so dangerous. He was deking, he was shooting. He scored 10 goals in his first 10 NHL games. Nobody will ever take that away from Elias Pettersson. That's something that put him on the map. It's what made comparisons to Wayne Gretzky actually not seem like the craziest thing in the world. And the fact that his 10th goal in his 10th NHL game was an on-the-rush slap shot from beyond the face-off circle against Detroit, that was seen as just an absolute bomb of a moment for Elias Pettersson in his career. The fact is, this guy was at 10 goals in 10 games. He wasn't able to continue and provide Stanley Cup pedigree performance for Vancouver. Yes, he had a 100-plus point year. Yes, he had an 89-point year the year after that. Yes, he was at some points throughout his career at the top of the NHL in points. But when did this guy start to fade away? It was when the Canucks made the playoffs. And sure, there are a number of excuses you can give for Elias Pettersson, and I'm not going to sit here and say that those aren't valid, but just looking at this graphic here, the fact that Boeser, Pettersson, and Kuzmenko were all amongst the top NHL goal scorers upon debuting in the league amongst active players minus Patrick Laine, they're literally 3 out of the top 10. Top 11 if you wanted to include Laine on that list. I mean, there isn't a single team that repeats other than Pittsburgh with Crosby and Gensel, and Vancouver with Boeser, Kuzmenko, and Pettersson. And that's not even thinking about JT Miller being so good and being a 100-point player, and Quinn Hughes having this ascension to the top of the NHL's defenseman ranks that carried him into having this reputation that allowed him to dictate where he wanted to go. And the fact is, we probably will see him go where he wants to go in the near future. Cough, cough, New Jersey with his brothers. But this is the ultimate disappointment for Vancouver Canucks fans. Acknowledgement that things were so good back in the past, but this team just could not put it together. They could not keep it together. They could not hold the team together in order to actually sustain winning results and Stanley Cup pedigree play. They fumbled the bag. Kuzmenko, Pettersson, Boeser, they're all great. But the Canucks just couldn't do anything with that. And a lot of these guys did decline. 2 of these guys are still on the team, the other one ain't anymore. But it's just quite the shame, isn't it? We all know how good this team could have been if everybody just stayed healthy, if everybody just played to their potential, if everybody just got along. But with all that said, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments section. What went wrong with the Vancouver Canucks to let go of talent like this and just not see it come to anything? Pettersson and Boeser are still on the team, but the fact that they were so good so early on, and they only had really 2 playoff runs in Canucks colors, is quite disheartening when you look at how good they were to open up their careers. How does Andrei Kuzmenko play into this? How does JT Miller play into it too? You can let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.